It is now 10 a.m. We're going to call to order the Board of Commissioners meeting. If you would please rise with us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. At this time, we will accept public comment for items that do not appear on our agenda. Is there anybody who'd like to make any public comment? Okay, yes, please. And we would ask you to join us at the podium. And if you'd be willing to share your name and the municipality that you live in, and we'll provide 5 minutes to you, and we'll give you about a 30-second warning. Okay, good morning.
Good morning. I'm a resident of Center County. I live in Boggs Township, actually. I own my home on Snow Fountain Drive. And the issue that I'm here about is a colony of feral cats that have been living in my neighborhood probably since last fall, but the colony has just continued to grow. I wrote a letter, and I have a copy for all of you, to Boggs Township supervisors. I was at the July meeting, the August meeting, and the September meeting. At the August meeting, it was determined that we would have a woman that does rescue in Howard, Hope's Dreams, I believe is what it's called, trap, spay, neuter, and or not return. We had farmers that were willing to take these cats after they were spayed and neutered. Well, at first she agreed, and so did the humane officer, and then she decided no, she was going to bring them back. So they are now still, whatever, I don't know how many there are at this point, they're everywhere. Some of them have been spayed and neutered, I don't know how many, and some have not. The way you tell if they're spayed and neutered is their ears clipped. These cats have defecated all since spring, the weather got warm, in all my mulch beds, in my grass, in my garden. My dog has eaten feces 4 times. Why they like it, I have no understanding of. But my dog has a half an acre property to run with an underground fence. I cannot let this dog out by herself because she will find the feces and eat it. That can lead to her getting any type of parasite they carry or any disease they carry. I myself have not been able to work in my yard because of these cats. I have health issues. I keep my yard immaculate, and it has upset me terribly that I can no longer do that. There is a trailer park behind me that Matt Kremser owns. He had to write a letter telling these people to stop feeding these cats. Some of them are still feeding them. I don't know if the woman in Howard is still trapping or not. Like I said, I can't tell you how many cats are there, but I cannot live my life this way any longer. And the supervisors at the last meeting looked at me after I asked them what they were planning to do. We were going to see what you were going to do next. This should not be my responsibility to do anything with these cats. There are very few laws in Pennsylvania regarding feral cats. And the ones that I question are, after this woman traps the cat, according to the law in Pennsylvania, that becomes her property. So when she releases it back to the area she trapped it in, she's actually abandoning it. I've gotten no help from the humane officer. I have a list of everyone I've called, including the Game Commission, the Department of Agriculture. No one wants to deal with this problem, but neither do I. But someone has to step up and do something about this. They need to be permanently removed. The Humane Society gets a feral cat in, they euthanize it. Game Commission considers them to be a domestic animal. So, what do? I can't trap them, they become my property. I can't abandon them, and I could be cited for it. So what am I to do, and what are my neighbors to do? One of my neighbors that lives in the park, her dog actually got tapeworm from these cats. People have had to, like I say, tear up their gardens, can't work in their yards, have to check their yard before they mow for cat feces, and the smell is horrible. And I'm not exaggerating on any of that. There is feces everywhere. So, Any suggestions from commissioners? I mean, I can't get the supervisors in Box Township to do anything. Have you had this issue brought before you before?
Typically for public comment, we just allow you to make a statement and then, no, that's fine. But what we can do is we can follow up with our planning office and discuss with them if there's anything that we can do to help remediate the situation. Ultimately, it's with Boggs Township. The county commissioners don't have really a lot of authority when it comes to those kind of local zoning issues and ordinance issues. But we can certainly reach out to them. If on the sign-in sheet, if you could please make sure your name and your email or phone number are there, we'll follow up with you after the meeting. But I think we understand your concerns, and we've got good relationships with the Boggs Township supervisors and the secretary treasurer there. So we can follow up after the meeting. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
My biggest concern, though, is the health issues.
Sure.
Because, these hookworm alone can live in the soil for 6 to 8 weeks. So, as I said, I've done nothing in my yard this year. And where I did have flowers planted in front of my porch, I had to take them out from all the rain damage. The next day, it was full of catfishes. So, thank you.
No, thank you for your
I'd like
time,
to give
okay?
you this copy
thank
of
you.
everything
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you wanted to give that to Jill, that'd be fantastic. Thank you
This is
very much.
everything
Thank
that I've informed Boggs
Okay.
Township.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We appreciate you coming out to our meeting today, okay?
Thank
We'll
you.
follow up with you, okay? Okay. Okay. At this time, is there any other public comment for items not appearing on our agenda? Okay, seeing none. We will move forward with our meeting minutes from our September 7th meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from the September 7th Board of Commissioners meeting.
I will second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. We're going to move forward with our proclamations, and we're going to welcome up Natalie Corman, our Human Services Administrator, and Ryan Prater, I believe, from the Central PA Food Bank. So we appreciate you both being here today and look forward to discussing a little bit about all that's going on with Hunger Action Month and raising awareness in our community.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, the commissioners, for approving the proclamation. And I also wanted to give a shout out to our partners. I know some of them are listed in the proclamation. They're the ones that are on the ground every day getting food in the hands of the people that need it. So thank you to our partners. So Hunger Action Month is recognized nationwide by Feeding America food banks to bring attention to the issue of hunger in our communities. We know that food is an impossible choice. For some of us, that might mean what are we going to eat for dinner tonight or who's going to make dinner. But for some people, that means should I eat or should I pay my electrical bill or should I buy my medicine? So we know that is an impossible choice for some people in our community. So this year we are asking community members, what can you do to help end hunger in your community? Our 3 suggestions are listen, commit, and speak up. Or learn, commit, and speak up, sorry. So this is a perfect example of learning, acknowledging that there are people facing food insecurity in central Pennsylvania, in Center County. Then commit, of course, food is not free, so we ask for financial donations, but you can also commit to a volunteer shift at your local pantry or one of our food hubs in Williamsport or Harrisburg. And then finally, we say to speak up and advocate for policies that are going to help end hunger in our communities. So call your representatives, write a letter to your representatives, and advocate for those policies that will help us end hunger. And then finally, I'd just like to give a little shout out that our town hall, our community town hall, is taking place on Thursday from noon to 1 p.m. We'll be providing updates of what we've learned the past year. We'll have a panel of partners from the community and just how we're building resilience for the future. So thank you, commissioners. Thank you to all the partners. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
So on behalf of the Office of Adult Services, we received the state funding, which we'll actually go over that report later today. And that funding is provided to the 8 designated food pantries located throughout Center County that receive the state food as well as the federal food TFAP that we receive. And so we recognize those. Both are nonprofits that do it as well as are just fully volunteer organizations that are located in more of our rural areas of Center County. But then lastly, we would not be remiss without acknowledging the work of the YMCA. Hunger Month is important throughout our county, whether or not it's a food pantry or not, and the work that the YMCA obviously has done throughout the pandemic, and is ongoing for them, would also be accredited partner of ours in our community and are continuing to feed our community, as well as any of those, we have a lot of faith-based organizations that have simply their own food pantry inside of their church, inside of their building, wherever that might be. And so, collectively, this community works hard. I think the 3 steps are amazing to focus, and I think especially in Center County, we have those agencies and individuals have really made the effort to do so. So to be able to recognize it, both with Central Pennsylvania Food Bank as well as even just our own food pantries that we serve this month is a great proclamation for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. And this work goes on year-round, especially with the pandemic. We've seen hunger increase in our community and the reliance on that. And as many, as many of us know, the importance of it, as you said, it's an impossible choice. And so we raise up the awareness, again, to learn, commit, and speak up throughout not just the month of September, but every month throughout the year. So thank you again for both of you being here. Any other additional comments before we look for a motion?
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize Mel Curtis and all his efforts as well. I mean, this county is just blessed with amazing folks that make sure that people have food on their table. And Natalie, I know you've been instrumental for a number of years of making sure that the food banks have been taken care of. But the Faith Center, it just the list goes on, and the Howard Lions. I mean, you could just go on and on and on of all the folks in our community that make this happen, and it's important work, and we're very appreciative of the fact that we have people that step up to do it. And thank you again.
We appreciate the hundreds of volunteers who work for the 8 local food banks, the YMCA, and the faith-based organizations. They make a big difference in the county. Thanks.
So with that, we would look for a motion for Proclamation 27.
Motion to adopt Proclamation number 27 of 2021, proclaiming September as Hunger Action Month in Center County.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay.
Can they do a photo with Ryan?
Please, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Please. Yeah, please.
I'm okay. Cheekbones.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's for you.
Take it. Yep, you're good.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Having to hold.
Okay. So with our next proclamation, Proclamation 28 of 2021, we are going to welcome some of our fantastic partners in our libraries here in Center County. So we have 2 executive directors with us. We have Denise Stika and Lisa Collins, and we're really excited to have you both here if you wanted to join us. And I think you might have some other guests, fellow board members potentially. And so, yeah, please join us up front, please.
I just want to thank the commissioners for giving us this opportunity. The American Library Association has established September as National Library Card Sign-Up Month in an effort to highlight the importance of libraries of all kinds in ensuring academic success of students of all ages. And so it's kind of a fun way to promote. Every year, the Library Association adopts an honorary chairperson for Library Card Sign-Up Month, and we have all sorts of activities to kind of encourage people to do that. And so when we approached the Board of Commissioners to issue this proclamation, it was kind of fun because we wanted to make sure that you all had a library card as well. And I understand that some of you have library cards that date a long time ago, so we're very, very proud of all of that. But we do appreciate this opportunity. It's something that is national, and so all across the United States during September, as their students are going back to school, we're encouraging them to make sure that they have a library card that will help them. And this was particularly important during the pandemic when we had to pivot a lot of our services into virtual services, and we made it a whole lot easier for people to get a library card. So on behalf of the Center County Library and Historical Museum, I want to thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Collins from SCLO.
Well, you put it very well, Denise. I think that she hit on all those big sort of big piece is, I just want to thank everybody here, though, for your support of the libraries. We really were an essential community resource during the pandemic, and we've maintained that essential community resource as we've shifted back to making sure that we're open for people to come in and to go ahead and enjoy our resources in person. So thank you very much for everything that you've done to help us ensure that we could get vital resources out to our community.
Absolutely. Yeah, please, if you wanted to introduce your the fellow members here. I'm sorry. Yeah, please. Please.
I'm Carl Inglesby. I'm on the board. Been on for 2 years, and thank you very much, particularly for the financial support this hard times. It's been a struggle, but we seem to be doing just fine right now.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm Brady Clemens, the District Consultant Librarian at SCLO Center Region Library. I work with the libraries in Center, Clearfield, Mifflin, and Juniata counties, and on behalf of the 2 libraries of Center County, I'd like to echo that thanks for your support.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Byers. I am the treasurer of the SCLO Library Foundation. I formerly was on the Board of Trustees and was the president for a while. And this month is really, I should say, important to me or timely for me because I've lost my library card.
We know how to get her hooked up again with a new one, so that would be good.
And despite misconception, if you do lose a library card and need to renew it, it's not. There's no drawing of blood or anything. You just come in, and I think there might be a financial little fee.
Yeah, no, just the replacement
Okay.
cost. So yeah.
Are you still issuing those little key tab things?
Yes, we also have, so see, now you get the physical sort of like card as well as a key card, so pretty nice. And then you can also carry it on your phone using the app, which is pretty fantastic. So what we really try to do is make a library card extraordinarily easy for everyone to get. In fact, one of our initiatives that we're really excited by is we've been getting library cards to all incoming students for the State College Area School District. And that's been fantastic, just connecting more and more kids with library information. So library card is definitely your portal to just sort of all sorts of information, entertainment, and lots of future opportunities. So thank you so much today.
Fantastic. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that we have 2 of our appointees to the Center County Library Board, Margaret Gray and Commissioner Dersham as well. So we appreciate you both service there. But everybody loves libraries, so it's so exciting to see you here. But please, any other comments or yeah.
I've visited, I think, every library branch in the county. Great staff, wonderful services to the community. I usually end up going with the books or CDs on tape. Really enjoy those. And I think I've had to pay to have library cards replaced at least once. And it's very cheap and very painless.
A question for you. I know during the pandemic, obviously people are not going to be able to access the physical books as easily. Were the e-books and all the things you offer online, did those numbers go up appreciably during that time?
Tremendously, yes. I mean, we saw huge increases, sometimes, hundreds of percentages.
Wow.
We also, Denise and I worked really hard together to ensure that all of our electronic resources, we put a lot more funds towards those electronic resources, just so we could make those available during those difficult times.
One of the silver linings of the pandemic, if you could call it that, would be the awareness of people that there were online resources, particularly in many of our Center County branches, the one in Phillipsburg and the one in Center Hall, where most of our traffic, our visitors are people who like to visit the library. That's an important part of their routine. And because of the pandemic and we were closed, they were unable to do that. And so we were fielding a lot of phone calls, teaching people how to use the online catalog, letting people know what kinds of resources were available. And so once we were able to open our doors again last summer, some of those people they liked that new routine. And so we did continue to see an increase in our e-resources, and we put more money into them. But we also were experiencing the gratitude of our community for us to be open again. And everybody was trying very hard to make it safe for everybody else so that we wouldn't have to shut again. So.
Well, again, thank you all for being here today, all the work that you do day in, day out for your service, and we want to make sure that we mention this. According to the proclamation here, 52,000 Center County residents have a library card. So that's really fantastic. Again, 52,000 of our neighbors are enjoying resources that you all provide, and in a very free and accessible way. So thank you again. So we will look for then a motion at this time.
Motion to adopt Proclamation number 28 of 2021, proclaiming September as National Library Card Sign-Up Month in Center County.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay, and we welcome you up, and we'll present the proclamation to you. We may need to get a second one. We'll get a second copy of this. Is that the card there? Is that it?
Oh, my
It
goodness.
just expired over 40 years ago.
Stephanie, can you get a close-up of this? Is that possible?
Well, I'm actually going to give it to them.
Oh, you're gonna give
I have one of them. You have one of those?
I have one of those.
All right, this one expired in,
Yeah, please.
I can just go.
Oh, sure, yeah, sure.
no, January of 1978.
And I've got it on my phone here.
Yep, see, I got the app as well. Yeah, the app is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can use any app to
Yeah.
put your library.
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yep.
I don't.
You can share mine.
I'm in big trouble.
Okay, thank you. We'll send you all a copy.
Thank you, good to see you.
Here, I'll
Thank
donate
you.
this to the archives. There you go. In case
appreciate that.
none of
Thank
those
you.
exist anymore, at least you'll have one.
Pretty fantastic.
There you go.
Thank you,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Okay. All right, so moving on to our American Rescue Plan Act section of our agenda. If we turn it over to Margaret, just maybe for a little bit of context on this, just in terms of how this discussion came to us, and we can provide an update about where our conversations stand with other municipalities.
Okay, certainly. The Board of Commissioners recently had some conversations and discussions with the Airport Authority, and as a result of those discussions, learned that the Airport Authority, along with the University Park Airport, was considering making some overtures to American Airlines for expanded air service into our University Park Airport. And as we all know, expanded air service is really one of the keys to attracting new businesses, expanded businesses in our region. We've been told numerous times that if we could expand this air service in and out of our University Park Airport, that we would stand a much better chance of attracting additional businesses to the county. Furthermore, expanded air service for our residents opens up lots of tourism possibilities and lots of opportunities for our residents to travel outside of the Center region and Center County. So as a result of those discussions, the possibility of putting forward an incentive package for American Airlines was presented, and you all had thought that perhaps using some of our ARPA funding for that purpose would be a possibility. And we've also reached out to other municipalities to see if, in addition to a county allocation toward this purpose, that other municipalities might want to participate. That's been a successful initiative led by Commissioner Pipe, and so today we are looking for an allocation in the amount of $250,000 toward the incentive pool to attract American Airlines to the University Park Airport and provide a connecting flight from University Park to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. And Charlotte is an international airport, and so the exciting part of that is the tourism aspect for folks coming into our area, like you mentioned, but also us traveling out. And so it reduces the connections that individuals would have to take if they'd have to travel to Pittsburgh from our community or over to Philadelphia, Harrisburg. But Charlotte really links them with a lot of other possibilities. And so that's very exciting. And the opportunity that we have, again, to boost boost the airport as we come out of the pandemic. It took a really a financial hit in the previous 18 months, but this would really allow them to see a lot of that travel return. And we're having great conversations with other municipalities. Many of them have pledged some funds. The only one we've officially heard back from was Patton Township has officially pledged $12,500 at their meeting last week. But we've heard the Borough State College, Bellefonte, College, Harris, they're all having conversations as we get into the next few weeks. So we've asked them to provide us by this Friday the funds or the pledge, and then we can let the airport know about that, and then they can, at a meeting they're going to be having next week with American Airlines, present that total fund. So really show a good community, regional, municipal government effort here, and we have some other partners that are going to be from the private sector potentially contributing as well, but we'll let them make those announcements. But this would really show from our American Rescue Plan funds the ability to attract American Airlines, and again, fingers crossed, but I think it'll really put us on a good footing. So I'm really excited about this. We talked about it at a work session, I believe, last week, so we had a little bit of insight on that. But yeah, any other discussion or comments or thoughts on this, please?
Yeah, just want to mention it is a one-time contribution, one-time pledge. If American Airlines does not take our offer from the airport, then we will be retaining those funds. And very much appreciate the other municipalities' interest in the program. But Margaret mentioned a little bit, this will help create jobs in Center County, not just at the airport, but perhaps will be more likely to either retain or attract entrepreneurial businesses, startups, et cetera. Obviously, the tourism goes both ways. People flying into Center County to take advantage of the many wonderful tourism opportunities in Happy Valley. And at the same time, of course, Center County residents being now more easily able to visit attractions in the southeast U.S. or internationally. And then just from a quality of life standpoint, Mike, you mentioned Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. I know some of us still do have to drive to those airports, but I think we were at 22 flights a day before the pandemic, and this might add another two or so per day. Adds a new destination. So I think it's a great idea, and I really hope American Airlines takes us up on the offer.
I think one of the real benefits of this is you're going to start seeing a lot more interest from Fortune 500 companies that really want to have a presence here in Center County, and it'll give them the opportunity to have the transportation base that they require for their business models. That's the first thing. And Mark, your point about what it does for local folks is just as important. That is, people in Center County are going to be able to travel more easily outside of our area without having to travel. And with the I guess the impending loss of the airport in Williamsport, this will really position Center County and our airport at University Park to really be the focus of a lot of attention in our region. And I think it's an opportunity for us that we need to seize and a commitment we need to make. So.
Absolutely great. Well said. Couldn't agree more. So any other discussion about this? Questions or comments before we look for a motion?
Hopefully the situation in Williamsport, maybe they're just going to hibernate the airport for a little while.
That's outside our control, but we
Yes.
need to assume that folks from that area may need air travel, and we can provide that service.
And with the recent improvements at the airport, the additional parking, the additional transportation, the handy delivery taxi company pivoting and moving into more long-term parking, and shuttle services. There's a lot more availability at the airport than there used to be.
Yeah, so it's on the up and up. We want to keep supporting them, and again, this hopefully will go a long way to that incentive. So at this time, we'd look for a motion to approve that allocation.
Motion to approve the American Rescue Plan Act allocation in the amount of $250,000 toward the incentive pool to attract American Airlines to the Center County Airport.
As a pledge.
That's right.
Pledge, right.
Okay. I will second that.
Motion has been made for $250,000 in pledge from the American Rescue Plan Act funds, and this allocation will be in the total of $250,000. Again, as you mentioned, Commissioner Higgins, contingent upon them agreeing. So if they don't agree, we retain the funds. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. All right, we're going to head into our contracts and authorizations. We're going to welcome up our Prothonotary, Jeremy Breon, and we have an item on the agenda. for you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're good, thank you. How are you?
I come before the Board of Commissioners. Are we good? All right. I come before the Board of Commissioners this morning to present a contract for credit card services for the Center County Prothonotary and Clerk of Court's office. I believe it would be helpful for the board to understand why I'm asking for the consideration of the contract and to demonstrate the impact the services would have on the Prothonotary and Clerk of Court's office. If you'd like, I have copies of the handout, if that would be helpful as well. That might be some reference materials that you might need, and I can let those as well that you can take afterwards.
Thank you.
On March 19th, 2020, President Judge Pamela A. Ruest utilized the powers under the PA judicial emergency to put into place an order to allow email filing for the Prothonotary and Clerk of Court's office in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Upon expiration of the judicial emergency, President Judge Pamela A. Ruest petitioned the Supreme Court for an extension of the judicial emergency, and on June 29, 2021, the Supreme Court granted the request for the expiration with an expiration of August 31st of 2021. In order to continue access to the court with the uncertainty of COVID-19, I wanted to allow for email filing on a permanent solution. And until we find a permanent e-filing system. I work closely with President Judge Ruest to create local rule number 205.4, allowing for email filing to continue. On September 7th, 2021, we have the permanent rule in place to allow for email filing in Center County. The order would allow for that email filing to continue on a permanent basis. A component of that rule is to allow for the option of credit card payments for the Center County Prothonotary and Clerk of Court's office. When seeking a credit card provider, I first turned to the vendors presented at our state Prothonotary and Clerk of Court's conference. MSB Direct and Pay.gov were two of those providers. MSB Direct was asked which prothonotaries they're currently working with in Pennsylvania, and they were unsuccessful with being able to provide any counties in the state of Pennsylvania. In contrast, Pay.gov was successful with providing the following: Beaver County, Berks County, Columbia County, Crawford, Forest, Lawrence, Lycoming, Mercer, Northumberland, Sullivan, Union, Wayne, York, and the probability of new clients, Lancaster, Fayette, and Clinton. In addition, I originally submitted the short form contract for Pay.gov, and upon request, I provided the long form contract to the Board of Commissioners. To understand the services provided by Pay.gov, I believe we need to understand the three ways credit card payments can be made to the Prothonotary and Clerk of Court's office. Through the secure web portal, which would be a link on our website that would link directly to the company, and then the funds would be captured and we would receive them through mobile app and in person. Pay.gov offers all three payment methods. Because we do not have a permanent electronic filing system at this time, it would be a two-step process for the user. The user would need to submit their documentation to the email address provided in the local rule, and then subsequently, we would need to go in and we would need to link that payment to the actual entry in our court database. In order to do this, we need to capture the following information: the name, the case caption, file date, and docket number. In addition, these fields would be included in the credit card reporting system of Pay.gov, and it would be archived for auditing purposes. I hope this information provides some clarity to the reason of my request for this credit card provider. I'm certainly not an expert in credit card services, but I'd be glad to answer questions that I can, and in addition, if we need to set up an additional meeting with the provider, I'd be glad to do so.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I think it's clear that paygov.us is kind of the prothonotarary's choice, if you will. It's certainly across the state Commonwealth, you're seeing that many prothonotaries, your counterparts, are going with it. I think the only question that I would have would be from a cybersecurity aspect. And the good thing about this is we have a week, we would be moving this to the September 21st consent agenda, so we'd have a week to look into that and just ensure that they are really top-notch when it comes to that. That would be the only question that I would have. If you could speak to that, I'm not sure if you have any information on that, but we could certainly research it over the next week and make sure that that long-form contract has some good cybersecurity provisions in it. But that would be my only question that I'd be curious about.
I think that that would be something that we could research over the next week with the company. Like I said, I'm certainly, cybersecurity is not my forte, but I'd be glad to go ahead and do the research for that.
And we can loop in our team as well with Margaret and Chad. And yeah, thank you.
I see we have our recorder of deeds with us today. Is this a program that may have a cross-pollination to other offices within county government? This pay.gov, is it, Joe, would, any?
We have a different service as Joe's Pay.
Okay. Oh, okay, well, okay. Well,
It's similar to everything that Jeremy had mentioned, and we've had great success with our vendor, and I think that wouldn't have any reason to believe that his vendor wouldn't be the same.
okay.
I think the key thing with yours is that you link it on the back end. And, Joe was the first entity in county government to accept those credit card payments. And so we did a lot of due diligence on GovPay for the Recorder of Deeds office, but it's a different type of service that you're providing.
We have 17 customizable fields that we can choose if we need to add additional information for recording purposes. We can go in and we can add those customizable fields to the panel whenever it's presented for anyone making payment.
Yeah, so long as the cybersecurity issues are addressed, I'm happy to see the Prothonotary's office improving services for Center County residents. That's great, Jeremy. Thanks.
Thank you.
I would just add the solicitor has the law form, and she's taking a specific look at it in terms of cybersecurity and the responsibility and liability of the company to be stepping forward should there be any breach of data for it.
Can we have, perhaps have Chad or RDA take a quick look through the process?
Certainly.
Need any concerns?
That would be helpful. Excellent. Thank you for the diligence and the attention to detail with the presentation. It's helpful for us to understand how it will be utilized, and again, hopefully it'll make your office more efficient and, again, give better services to folks here in Center County. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
So we would look then for a motion as listed on the agenda.
Motion to add the agency service agreement with paygov.us LLC to next week's consent agenda.
We'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For our human services items, we'll welcome back up Natalie to discuss the adult services, MHID, EI as well.
Good morning.
Morning, Ann.
So before you, I have, on behalf of Adult Services, our state food purchase program, the expense and data report. And to highlight that is, it's the way for us to document through the 8 food pantries, the funding that we received from the state and the spending that we did. So as you can see, for fiscal year 2021, we spent $80,801 for that. That served 1,254 households, which totaled about 2,580 people. I think when you look at numbers, I think what's really important is that we also have to break down how many visits that is. And so for us, it was 14,076 visits. So really over 90% of the households went every month. And I think that's really what's important to showcase, is that it can sometimes be a short-term solution, but our food pantries really get to know the families and households that they serve because they see them every month. And so with over 90% of these households going, it's the relationship, it's the knowledge of the family, it's the needs that we can meet by able to spend this funding to get the state allocated funding that we need. So.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Any questions or comments on the SFPP expense? Okay, would there be a motion?
Motion to approve the state food purchase program expense and data report for fiscal years 2020 to 2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay.
So for drug and alcohol, as we have been through the pandemic, our state offices often had released emergency bulletins, emergency orders. In particular, telehealth is one that we obviously did a lot of work on throughout the last year and a half with that. And so the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs requires us to do a waiver, which is simply a one-page document that outlines what a waiver that we want. What we want to do is just to make sure that we can continue to do virtual intakes with individuals who are seeking treatment. And so whether that is detox, rehab, whatever the case might be, we want to be able to do it either face-to-face or virtually, which also means that we have to do the verbal releases, as well as we did that Hello Sign contract where they can sign off on the paperwork that we need. Partially, it aligns with us continuing to offer the telehealth services of our drug and alcohol staff. So this waiver just outlines that that's what we would be asking for, is the ability to continue to do virtual, whether it's telephone or video consultation and intakes for individuals seeking services.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions or comments on the waiver? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the waiver to the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
So for contracts 2 through 6, first one is community integrations, which they do emergency transportation services for us. They also are a vendor that our Office of Transportation also uses. I think also our children and youth. I think they are a great provider to us across human services. We also have our letter of agreement with UPMC specific to our early intervention services, whether that is speech pathology or occupational physical therapy. But I just want to highlight contracts 4, 5, and 6. As you can tell, we have different Eagles that we support. So that would be Eagle Valley, Eagle Ridge, or Eagle View. And really, these are supportive housing programs, aside from Eagle Valley. Eagle Ridge and Eagle View is really programs that they have worked with us on developing specific to our individuals, whether it's mental health or intellectual disability services. And so those 3 contracts total $950,292, really just specific to supportive living opportunities for residents in our community. And of that match, $43,809 is county dollars.
Thank you, Natalie, for highlighting those and the other contracts as well. We look for a motion for 2 through 6.
Motion to add the mental health, intellectual disability, early intervention, drug and alcohol, items 2 through 6, to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion?
I just
Yeah,
want to
please.
say, you had highlighted the Eagles, if you will, but I just want to say thank you to the STEM family for being great partners with Center County government.
Great family.
All right. It's been moved and seconded for those items. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
Natalie.
thank you.
We have today's consent agenda in front of us. Would there be a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Consent agenda is approved. For our authorities, boards, and commissions, we have one resignation from the MHID EI Advisory Board. Greg Coley is resigning effective September 20th, and Mr. Coley is actually going to be the new magisterial district justice for the Penns Valley Center Hall area, so we appreciate his service on the board, and I think he'll take that same appreciation for all the issues that we're dealing with on the advisory board into his new role. And so he's looking forward to serving in that role, but just wanted a little bit more focus as he gets prepared for that. And then we also want to recognize the resignation of Angelica Mimiwutz, who is resigning effective August 17th, a long-serving Unionville Borough Mayor, so we appreciate her service on the Planning Commission. So we look for a motion to accept those 2 resignations.
Motion to accept the 2 resignations from the authorities, boards, and commissions.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. And we'll turn it over to Margaret for an administrator's report.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. There we go. Okay.
I just wanted to report that the newly appointed Center County Elections Director that
That's right.
began
Sure.
yesterday, her first day with us, was on, yesterday. I'm very happy to have her here. We're going to give her a few days and weeks to get settled in, but we're looking forward to introducing her to the community at large when she's had that opportunity. I'm very
Absolutely. We are thrilled and excited. I think it's thrilled and excited. Thrilled and excited. But yeah, we'll have a lot more to talk about with that in the coming days. And I think there's contracts that we'll be seeing her in the next few, maybe weeks ahead.
Yes, that is correct. Mhm.
She was already this morning going downstairs to admire our collection of voting equipment and significant other material down there, so she's hard at it on day 2.
Hit the ground running.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
We were so fortunate to be able to find an experienced elections director, very knowledgeable with the Pennsylvania system.
Yes, and she'll make a great addition to our team back there. We have some tremendous staff that will complement, I think, a very successful elections office, so very excited to have them together.
Yes, having served as a director of elections prior, she does really hit the ground running. That's exactly what we need right now. So again, very excited, very excited. So yes, thank you for that. Thank you, Margaret. Okay, so for under our discussion items, we will welcome up John Fronick to discuss the Solar United Co-op, an initiative that's happening here in Center County. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a follow-up to our earlier discussion regarding the county's potential interest in joining the Solar United Co-op that officially launched at a press conference on September 9th in the Center Region. The Center Region municipalities of College and Patton, as well as Bellefonte Borough, the Center Region Council of Governments, and the local chapter of the Sierra Club officially announced being full partners in the co-op, with more municipalities slated to consider joining later this month. There are currently 12 co-ops in Pennsylvania, which is a relatively new chapter in the U.S., as there are approximately 289 Solar United co-ops across the nation. There's a great quote on their website that basically describes what a co-op is. Imagine walking into a solar company's office with 50 or 100 of your neighbors and saying, we all want to get solar, what kind of deal can you give us? So that's, in a nutshell, what the co-op tries to achieve. The question before you today is whether there is any interest in the county participating at some level in the promotion and education of how residential homeowners can potentially save money by purchasing a solar panel system through the co-op's leverage of group pricing. If the county were to participate in the promotion of the co-op, it could be done within one of two primary levels of involvement. The first one is simple. We would merely send a letter to all the municipalities within the county, informing them of the co-op and how their residents can take advantage of the programs that are offered. The second option is to become a co-op member, like some of the other municipalities have chosen to do, whereby we can still send the letter to our municipalities, but we would go a step further in the promotion of the co-op's efforts to spread the word and essentially endorse the program. The county would receive a media promotion toolkit from Solar United, and we would take on a more direct role by informing our residents on the benefits of the program. Future press releases by the co-op would include the county logo, if you were to choose so, and it would be included with all the other members on their website as well. Solar United has a dedicated 501c3 that runs the solar co-op side of their operations, and that is a separate arm that is distinct from Solar United's Sun Action Board that is operated under a separate designation. So this is all on the nonprofit side. Also, I am told that Penn State is not an official co-op partner. However, they have chosen to participate at the initial level by sending out information on the program through their listservs. Indiana, Beaver, Butler, and Crawford-Mercer counties all have entities operating co-ops within their jurisdictions. Most are nonprofits, with a couple local government entities participating as well. If you're interested in participating in the co-op, we would ask that you schedule a motion to vote on the level of involvement that the board may choose. Any questions?
Thank you, John. Yeah, I think what we can do is take maybe a week or so to review and think about it and put it on for next week, I would suggest. But we had the opportunity to talk with Pam Adams, learn a little bit more about the program and what some other entities were doing in the community. But I think one of the communities I had looked at was Indiana County, who are now on their second iteration or have done two of these kind of launches. Each launch has tried to get about 100 people interested, and they've been pretty successful with that. And so I think as a rural community out there, we could probably leverage a little bit about their successes and how they advertise and get the word out to the community. But again, it's no cost to the county. It's an opportunity for individuals to invest in solar and save some money in the long run. So I think it's certainly something we should look at. But today, we're just discussing it, no action today. But any initial thoughts or feedback?
Yeah, happy to have us look into it some more. I think we'll need a little bit more due diligence if we go to the level of actually sort of joining the co-op as a member. But the solar array at the correctional facility has been a big success. I know Penn State is now generating a substantial fraction of their electricity from solar. And I have a number of friends who, have solar generally on their roofs, and it's been very successful for them. They've been very happy with it. And to Commissioner Pipe's point, it's great to have a $0 electric bill, and in some cases even get some money back.
Yes. Okay.
Works for me.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll come back next week. We'll put it on the agenda for that in official action, and we'll learn in the week to come a little bit more about those different levels. So thank you very much, John.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Next, as a discussion item and presentation, we're going to welcome up Joe Davidson and to talk about the new system that he has launched and to get some more folks involved in it. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. I trust that Joe has the technology set up here correctly.
Sometimes that one, for some reason, thank you, Steve. Sometimes it doesn't, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so today I'm here to inform the commissioners and our constituents about the Recording Activity Information Notification System. And RAIN, as we call it, is a free service that allows Center County residents to monitor documents recorded with the county for any instance of their name being used in a recorder of deeds office. When you sign up with an email through the county website, you can register your name or up to 4 variations of that name. And once someone is registered with RAIN, every time a document is recorded in the recorder's office under that name that it exactly matches one of the names that you signed up for, they get an email notification. The email notification will be alerting them of the type of document that was recorded, the book and page number of the document, and the other parties that are listed on that document. RAIN's very easy to use and free. All you need is internet access and an email address. From the recorder's registration page, or the recorder of deeds page on the county website, we just click on the Recording Activity Information Notification page. And you enter your credentials, or you sign up for the project by clicking the sign up button, and you enter an email address. And then you would put the names in that you want to monitor. And for instance, for my case, I would want to put in Joseph Davidson, Joseph L. Davidson, maybe Joe Davidson, maybe Joey Davidson, however many configurations you might think that could possibly be associated with your property records. So once that's done, you submit the form and you get an email notification that asks you to confirm your registration. And from that particular day forward, any record that hits our indexes in the recorder's office, you'll get a notification that says what happened and what it was. Now, it's important to note that the notifications do not cover things that are already recorded. It's only going forward. And the service was developed as a means to, to save some fears from the commercially available products that are out there. The that are targeting homeowners in regards to property and deed fraud. And I think it's important to note that these services that you're commercially signing up for or subscribing to, they're doing the same thing that we can do here for no charge. The difference is, if there is an issue, those commercially available vendors that are providing the service will give you some legal assistance as far as getting the issues resolved. But again, once a fraudulent record hits the Recorder of Deeds office, the fraud has already been done. And this is by no means a prevention of the fraud. It's only an earlier warning of something that did happen. And luckily, here in Center County, the 22 years that I've been Recorder of Deeds, we've never had an instance of deed fraud or property theft that I know of. And typically, property fraud and deed theft happens in the urban areas or metropolitan areas where there's blighted properties. Blighted and unattended properties for months or years at a time. They seem to be the most common target for people that are causing deed and property fraud. So again, it's you can update existing subscriptions if your name changes because of a marriage or divorce or whatever. That is on there too, and you can simply request a list of the names that you registered under by putting in your email, and you'll get email notification of that. The Recorder of Deeds office in the county gets an email about everybody that signs up. We do not get the names. All we have is the email address of that person that signed up. So the system went live back in late April, early March, and we've been tweaking on it since, and I think that we have a pretty robust and reliable and complete system for our constituents here in Center County. Any questions?
We should also mention this was financed out of your recorder fund, I believe, and we had approved the contract earlier in the year, I think, to that effect. So it's great to see it up and running.
RBA Professional Data Systems partnered with the Recorder's Office in the county. We gave them the specifications that we wanted the project to look like, and they did a very good job, I believe.
Sounds great. I'm going to sign up myself. It's a great program, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody has any questions about the program? Just give us a call at the Recorder of Deeds office, 814-355-6801.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's some information out on the table out here, too, if you'd like to take one with you.
We put a flag on our website that
Yeah, absolutely.
draws people to the program.
Yeah, share it on our social media accounts.
Want me to turn this off, Jill, or? Okay, thank you.
Thank you again, Joe.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you. Okay. At this time, we'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins for a check run.
Sure, substantially smaller than average check run, about a third of normal size, for $471,755.01. The check of the week is one of the larger ones for this week to Crossroads Counseling, Inc. for $23,855.05 for housing and related services for the Drug and Alcohol Department. So would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated September 10th.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the check run? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay. We have one CNET request, and as many of you may recall, last week we had members of the Center County chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame with us to proclaim November 7th as Sports Hall of Fame month here or day here in Center County. And so they are also requesting the sponsorship of their annual induction banquet. And as we mentioned last week, it's really a fantastic event. And so we're excited to be able to consider sponsorship. So will there be a motion to approve the sponsorship?
Motion to approve the sponsorship for the Center County Chapter of Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame Annual Induction Banquet.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, over to Commissioner Dershowitz.
All right, this morning we have 104,997 registered voters. That's up 59 from last report. We have 44,052 Democratic registrants, 139 Green Party, 684 Libertarian, 14,057 no affiliation, and 42,198 Republican voters. And when added to the 3,867 other party voters, you get the 104,997. The feature party this week is the American Party, and the American Party has one registrant in Center County. The feature precinct of the week is precinct number 38, which is Boggs East. Votes at the Associated Builders and Contractors Building. And in the recent primary, there were total registered voters of 761. There were 222 ballots cast, which leads to a voter turnout percentage of 29.17%. And the folks that make it happen in precinct number 38, the judge of elections is Kelly Gillum. The minority inspector is Lanny Scott. The majority inspector is Linda Fisher. And the clerks are Donna Vaughn and Kim Smith. And again, thank you to Associated Builders and Contractors for allowing us to use their facilities. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. All right. We have no announcements today. Do we have any executive
No
sessions?
executive sessions to report.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Any questions from the press, please?
What kind of package for $250,000 do you put together in terms for American Airlines?
Sure. So if you thinking of it as a model, back in 2012-13, there were conversations about attracting United to come to establish flights from the University Park Airport to Chicago. And so there was a package at that point that was led by Penn State with about $500,000 that was put on the table. And so we're sort of using that same model of trying to get to about $500,000 from municipal and county support, some other partners as well, potentially other stakeholders. And then there's also going to be other incentives that are going to be provided, again, from the University Park Airport and potentially the Center County Airport Authority as well. The challenge that the Airport Authority has is they cannot use any of their operating funds or cash to incentivize the airline. So that's where we're coming in. But essentially, again, we're trying to get to that $500,000 of cash incentive for American.
Because the airline is going to have substantial upfront costs to add a new route to their network.
And essentially what would happen is after let's go to Commissioner Higgins' point, after they establish that service here, they'll essentially break even and the incentive will no longer be necessary.
Studies have been done in terms of the possible need for the service, projections of passengers, anything like that?
Say that again. I'm sorry, Gary.
Has any studies been done in terms
sure.
of projections in terms
Yes.
of the need for service or how many passengers, that type of thing?
One of the things that continually is a discussion is when businesses look at Center County as a landing place for new operations is our seemingly lack of connectivity, particularly to a major hub like Charlotte. So this will add one other element to that conversation. So, without a study, I would tell you that it has been a conversation among many of us when we've had conversations with businesses trying to relocate here in Center County.
And even for the businesses here already, we have more and more of our startups and entrepreneurial companies that are not just dozens of people anymore. They're now a couple of hundred people. That includes managers, salespeople, customers, suppliers, who all would prefer to fly into the very conveniently located airport and pop over to their customer or their supplier, in 10 or 15 minutes, as we're used to around here.
You have said in the past you are in contact with the Department of Health in terms of COVID cases in the county. Do they have any, do you ever ask, or do they have any services? We've talked in the past month about Grange Fair, Penn State students are back. Do they look at vaccination rates? Do they have any way of projecting what's going to happen in the future?
I don't think we want to speak for them in terms of what they're projecting, what they're not projecting. I think the key thing that many of us are looking at, and also the state, is the hospitalizations. And so even though we're seeing cases increase, the hospitalizations are slowly ticking up, but not like they were last year. And again, as many of us know, the vast majority of hospitalizations are of the unvaccinated. And so again, we're just trying to, as much as possible, provide resources and answer questions about the vaccinations, as well as Mount Nittany, Penn State Health, Geisinger, all of the clinics, and partners here in Center County as well. So, but again, there's really no predictions. We're taking it again day by day.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question.
Please.
So CATA announced yesterday they're suspending a couple routes because they're experiencing a severe staffing shortage. Anything that can be done for the people that rely on those routes to get from home to work or whatnot?
Sure. So that's the first, at least I'll say I'm hearing about it. I don't know if we as the Board of Commissioners didn't receive any outreach or contact from CATA. So if there would be contact from them, we'd be happy to answer and go from there.
Well, we do have a really important component of county government in our transportation system to provide senior transportation for folks, throughout the county. And I think it's important to note that those operations continue unabated. So, we're doing what we can to provide, some critical infrastructure for people to get around in the senior community.
And I'm relying on a news report, but I did see something last night that stated that the ridership is actually bouncing back on some of the more popular routes, so they can't cut back on those routes due to demand. And like a lot of other companies, they're experiencing staffing shortages. So understand what they might be having to do. But to Steve's point, if somebody does meet some of the county rules for our county transportation department, we're happy to help out.
I guess it's an opportunity for somebody, if they do have a CDL license, to take advantage of an employment opportunity. So,
All right, seeing no other questions, we will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 11:07.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.